This meeting is being recorded.
Furnace is very loud.
Madam Chair, and that should turn off in just a second.
Okay. Okay, we will call the Public Works Standing Committee meeting to order for Monday, April 27th, 2026. Approve the April 13th, 2026 minutes. Okay, I second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, those are done. Patsy's on her way in, but thank you for the great Public Works update.
Yeah, I like using that in print, black and white.
Yes.
Follow along.
No, I'll go through it really quick just for
Okay.
anybody else. Starting with stormwater, we're working on a grant application for MSEP, RRGL, and Montana Resiliency Grant for stormwater phase 4. That would happen in 28 probably. It would be, I believe they'll award in 27. And I have a copy, if anybody just is writing a letter of support to the funding agencies, that would be really useful. They actually carry a lot of weight with the committee, so if anybody's interested in writing a letter, I have a sample one that Public Works wrote, and I can get you the address, or we can make copies of that. But if anybody would like to write a letter of support for a grant for stormwater phase 4, the city would greatly appreciate it. One thing that came up, this stormwater issue, when the DEQ reviewed our upcoming wastewater project, they identified 3 main lines that we're replacing, that 2 actually have stormwater inlets tied to them. That, of course, raised an issue with DEQ because that's illegal. They asked that we either not replace those main lines in this project, or that we do not reinstate the stormwater inlets, which really isn't an option just because it would create problems without those inlets, those areas. Or we sign an agreement that we'd have them fixed by 2030. Wanting to move forward with the project as planned. We looked at our budgets. I had the engineers look at moving those stormwater lines that were going to be in phase 4 into the sewer project, so that we'd only tear the street up once. We'd only pave it once instead of twice now and in 2028. So we looked at that. I talked to the mayor about it. We have the money in reserve to do it. It would be an additional $350,000 to do those 3 blocks. And I'm having the engineers draw that up. So I guess
Where are those at?
Adams, 14th to 15th. I have a map of them. I can't remember off the top of my head. In that neighborhood, by the pool on.
Okay.
What is that street?
Well, it's either Hauser, Oaks, or Villard.
It's
We talked about this earlier.
between Hauser and
Okay.
Adams Word, I think it is. Maybe?
Yeah, it goes Hauser, Word, and then Adams.
Very
Yeah,
confusing
word
over
is.
there.
I know.
And it just, to me, makes the best solution. We're there.
Okay.
We're digging the street up anyway. Why not get the pipes in now rather than pave it back and do it in 28?
Was that decision a surprise to you, or have they done it before, or what was all that about?
No, I guess, I didn't know they were gonna throw a big red flag at it. I knew we had some storm days that were tight in there. We were well aware of that. The engineers and I had talked about it. We just kind of figured, well, we don't have a choice. We're just gonna do it, and then we'll get them in phase 4. They came back and said,
No.
You're not doing that. So,
Okay.
the other thing, stormwater wise, I don't know if anybody's been by coal miners. The city's crew is up there. We're putting in 400 feet of stormwater line up the hill. We hope to have it done by the end of this week. And just so you can, and stormwater is one of those things that, we can put in ourselves. Wastewater and water, we can, but we have to jump through some hoops with DEQ. We're doing 400 feet up there for about $10,000. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Just curiosity. Wastewater, DEQ, did approve those plans just today. So you can see on there, we have a proposed schedule. And we would put it out for bid on May 7th. We'd have a pre-bid meeting on May 14th. May 19th, we would discuss it in council. May 21st would be the second bid advertisement in the paper. May 28th would be a bid opening. And then June 9th, it would be like tonight or tomorrow night for the water project, where they would present bid tabs with a recommendation to award on June 9th. Water, the 16th bypass project is,
Mike, can I pause before you jump right into that? Will you just make sure that remember how in the past we've kind of had a fill in the blank one that they've given us so we can give it at council? Because that's a really narrow window between the 8th and 29th.
yeah, we
So
can,
if they can get us for the second meeting in May, basically one that doesn't have the blanks filled
okay.
in, like we've done in the past, that way the council and the public have a chance to see it on the dry run cycle before it's up for action.
So he does have that on Tuesday, May 19th, to update the council
Yeah,
on the
but
project.
But I'm saying, I want to have the blanks too, so.
Okay,
They've
It
given
won't
us
have a
templates that
contractor's
just aren't
name.
filled in.
right, but we could do that at that, and then,
Yep.
right,
Yeah.
and then we just authorize it. Okay.
Water, 16th bypass project is, getting close to being in the rearview mirror. The pressure reducing valve was put into operation on April 14th. We have a punch list of items that should be finished hopefully by Friday if the weather plays right. And at that point, the project will be complete. Originally, we had this budgeted with a loan of $530,000 with 50% forgiveness. And then, we ended up, rolling all the impact fees into this project, and the project came in under the estimate. And the impact fees were designed for this project. And it dropped our loan down to $330,000 with 50% forgiveness. We got less grant money, that's what forgiveness is, but we got a smaller loan too. So, during the project, we had 5 change orders. They're outlined there. They're all pretty straightforward. I'm not gonna run through those right now. If you have any questions, ask. The water improvements 2026 project, bids were open on April 16th. Had an engineer's estimate of $3,026,775. Low bid was COP at $2.158 million. Quite a bit, a good bid. Asking came in second at 2.686. Western Municipal is 2.952, and JR Civil is 3.226. COP has a outstanding record working in Red Lodge. They've done a lot of projects for us. They were here during the flood and jumped in and helped. So it's, Great West recommends to award to bid to COP. That'll be at council tomorrow night. Chad will be here if you have any questions. EDA Street project will begin, May 4th. Contract has 139 days to substantial completion, so I think takes us like into October. And if we have bad weather, we won't count it. So roughly, there's updates on all the projects on the website, and we're gonna try and keep updating it. There's maps on there, road closures. So if anybody's interested in what's going on with water, sewer, streets, go to the website. We have 5 applications for the sidewalk project. I have not scheduled site visits yet, but I'm gonna schedule them this week. Parks, I just included my updates to the Parks Board. Can look at that. The only things I have to add to that are, I've been working with the county to kind of go through our weed stuff, and they're being very helpful. They have went down and we'll get a small invoice for them, but I had them spray the bare ground and the gravel at the ball fields, like where concession and all that is. I had them spray the fence line, so we don't have to break our weed whacker trim chain link fence. They went up and they evaluated all the sites I looked at. The worst one that they saw as a problem was Van Dyke Park. There's the chairman of the Parks Board talked to me about that. There's a lot of knapweed up there. There's also a lot of flowers. He didn't like the idea of spraying it and taking out those flowers too. Went back to the county, talked to him, and he just got back to me today and he said he's got a plan to have an idea on how to handle the noxious weeds at Van Dyke, which would not kill the native forbs and flowers. This would include a late fall application when the natural vegetation goes into dormancy for the year. We can discuss this if you're interested, blah, blah, blah. So.
Have they hired a new weed guy since Brian died?
That's him.
And what's his name?
Jeffrey Burmis. And he's been really good to work with.
Jeffrey and B-E-R?
Mike, can I ask you, the weed spraying, was that the spray that was accommodating for the bear tooth, or the Yellowstone Wildlife Sanctuary too?
We haven't got up there yet.
Oh, okay, all
Right.
right. I didn't know what kind of weed spraying were you using?
We're
toxic?
Well, what was probably used up around there is, Duracor, which is pretty, it is it'll kill broadleaf plants, weeds, but, it's pretty safe. I mean,
Okay.
it's very safe.
For people and animals, I know that was a topic of discussion.
And we are still having Red Rooster spray the sewer ponds. They spray all, like Lions Park, baseball fields, Finn Park, Field School Park with ornamental turf and weed and turf. It's got fertilizer in it.
Okay.
They do that 3 times a year, and they're gonna start doing that next week. So, the only other parks thing I had update was, we still haven't got the shed up there for soccer. It's purchased. We've had some problems with delivery, and they want to deliver it tomorrow. I said it'd be too muddy, so now we're looking at Monday.
This is from the Roberts outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you, Mike. Are you done? I mean, are you?
No,
anything else?
No,
Still
he's
got a
still
couple
going.
more things.
Sorry.
I gotta go back to water, so I
You're fine,
looked at my notes.
We keep it.
Don't want to interrupt.
Yeah, it's like it's for Mike stuff.
FYI, we do have a water leak down on Cooper that we'll be working on this week as well. It's not coming out of the ground right now, but it is a significant leak.
Mike, did you hear about the one on 2 Platte that they get hold of? We had a call in today, which I think is just right across the street.
For a water leak?
They said a water leak.
Oh, no, I have not.
I'll check with you after this meeting if you're still here. Or if not, put it in your ear, that's all.
Yeah, no, I'll follow up on it. We're starting to get geared up on the pool. We don't have a manager at the moment. We do have job descriptions, and they're going in the paper on Thursday.
Who was our manager last year?
What's that?
Who was our manager last year?
Aubrey Kramer.
Oh.
She had, he decided not to come back, so, we've been working on quite a bit. The mayor and Jennifer Drinkwater doing most of the work. We're putting together kind of a new organizational chart for it, and I put that in here. It's a work in progress at the moment. Where you've got a different schedule this year, a few more out. I feel like more hours this year, more days.
It'll be opening sooner, it'll be closing later, and I think more days. and the temperatures that factor in for particularly kids' swim lessons. There are some recommendations, but they're not going to be.
First, that the alleged shooter, Cole Allen, is supposed to be a 31.
So yeah, there's, yeah, and then Mike and that group are putting together kind of the parameters and signs on like temperatures of when we will close the pool or lightning strikes, and there's a lot of those that'll be there. The big difference you'll see in the org chart is that the pool training manager, which is the branch labeled pool certification, is where all the lifeguards are, and then there's the pool house, which was the original recommendation from the pool committee, is that we kind of separate those two out. So the pool house manager is the front desk and the money and events and that sort of stuff.
Scheduling, it looks like.
Sorry?
Scheduling?
Yeah,
And-
the lifeguard scheduling has actually moved over under the column on the right. And Mike
Oh.
mentioned this as a work in progress document. There's a scribbled on version. The other significant difference that we are going for is that there's going to be an adult at the pool at all times. So we have a head lifeguard positions that'll be always there. Basically, it requires previous supervisory experience of some sort, and so they will be just kind of that separation of duties there.
And I think we're pretty far ahead of where we were the last 2 years that I've been here in terms of training lifeguards this year, so that's good.
The one thing that we do not have, and Mike mentioned the ad will be going in the paper, is the pool house manager, which is managing the front desk and kind of all the facilities. That position, it does not require being a lifeguard, does not require, so that should open it up for a lot more people who may be interested in being involved in the pool, but they're not active swimmers and whatnot. But everybody at the pool will be CPR and first aid certified.
Right. Okay.
Any questions on pool?
Nope.
Solid waste, contract's complete. Tomorrow night will be action item. I think compared to our last contract, it's, this one's a better one. It took a long time. I think in 4 short years, when we redo it, it'll be a lot easier. You can thank Danae a lot for that. She did a lot on it, so, the only other thing with garbage is, we're hoping, to get some cassettes to start fixing our airproof canisters, which, we've identified as not functioning properly, so hopefully we'll see 200 of those come in, sooner than later. Last thing, we had a public hearing last week for the Rocky Fork Bank Stabilization Project. This is a little project where, Rocky Fork Inn was. It's just a short section of bank, basically from the bridge to the existing trees. It's about 150 feet. It'll be more or less just like what we did down on 9th and Cooper. And we had a public hearing for that. We've got to get through permitting and final design before we can do the project. We've got a hurdle with one of the things that the permitting agency will want us to do, and that is plant willows. It turns into a big hurdle. We may not do this project till the spring of 27. We're going to try and do it this year. I put this little note in here just because I know there's a meeting coming up to talk about what's
On the 30th, yeah.
and, the last time that I sat down, and I don't know if the mayor was in on that meeting, I think you were, with John Beal, were you in there? Yeah, I mean, he stressed to us that once this project's closed out and done, and it won't be closed out and done till this bank project is complete, that's when they will give us the list of what we can and cannot do on that site. So I think that needs to be shouted across town before before people start making plans about what's
I know,
happening
so-
down there.
Do they kind of have to go together though? Because if you want to do something where you have like a beach or something like that, and then you plant a bunch of willow trees in it, or it's all these big rocks,
Well,
or,
those are.
I mean, those are all like
that's-
pre-planned, you can't change those, is
No.
what you're saying, okay.
We're,
So if someone says, we want a dock and a beach to go fishing right there, that's probably not gonna happen.
no, we got all this so that it would be a resilient
Okay,
piece of floodway and not have a structure on it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're actually, when we get that list, we might find that we can do more than we
you think,
thought.
okay,
But, the stuff with the willows and the way the bank's constructed, those are gonna be different agencies that are dictating that, permitting agencies. And they probably won't permit the project without those things. So,
And
Yeah.
they have already reached out, actually, the FWP has already reached out, and, we have them directly in contact with the engineer who's doing that, knowing that, that there, so hopefully that'll be speeding that process along.
okay.
I have a question. Mike, what, if any, credence are you giving to Katie Young's letter from Montana Trout Unlimited about the riprap?
I haven't actually read it yet,
Oh, okay.
so.
That, I will tell you that was turned in as part of the package, and Great West has that,
Okay,
so.
great, okay. That's all I have about the question, I mean.
Yeah, I'll look at it. I mean, I dealt with this when I was in Shoto too, with streams in the middle of town that flooded. Unfortunately, when it comes through town, a lot of times it's very hard to make it like a natural river, because
Yeah,
you don't want it to be. So I'll read through it.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
You want to say something?
yes,
Mike, did you get, I, wrote to the Parks Board, and I copied you too about the, playground.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
think
saw
it's
that.
more of a parks problem right now, but I was just asking if you had any advice or guidance about how to proceed with, updating, or cleaning up these, playgrounds.
But like typically in the spring, Willie goes through there and just kind of checks things over, does some sanding, replaces boards, that kind of stuff. Is that what you're talking
Well, yeah,
about?
Dr. Dallas talked about the splinters, and, so I went there, and they do all need sanding galore. I think it's more than Willie, I mean, unless Willie wants to work there all summer. I mean, but I think it's a Parks Board deal right now, but I just wanted you to know if you wanted to give us any help, not help, but guidance and.
No, I'll look at, I saw that email. I didn't read through it all just because I got busy.
I found out, I was.
But we'll look at it. I mean, we do have the Parks project,
You probably have
budget
better
line.
standards than me.
and if it needs, a thorough going over, that's what that budget line is
Okay,
for.
sprucing up,
Yeah.
new
Yeah.
chips and things
Some
like
of
that.
it's, we could do maintenance on it for sure with that, and it's already approved by the council,
Well,
so
it'll be on the agenda.
there's money
for next week.
available.
Okay, great. 'Cause
Mayor.
it's detailed.
I apologize if I missed it. Which park is that? I'm hoping that's not Moose Creek that we just,
Moose Trail.
Moose Trail.
Moose Trails that we completely re-outsourced and had done just a couple of years ago.
Well, we just had it, he just put a coat of stain on it. I don't think that would include any sanding.
No, it was not as bad as Field School, but they all need sanding, and then, fence post caps need to be replaced and freshened up. It all needs refreshing. It's just
Yeah, we
the
can,
usual.
we'll definitely,
But we'll talk about it next Wednesday night.
look at it. I'll get down there before Wednesday and look at it.
I did hear that, I was at Boys and Girls Club talking to those gals, and a young lady did get a large splinter in her behind, had to go to the hospital and have it removed. So we do have a problem there. So,
Oh, okay, yes,
I got a question for Mike. The Waterworks Road, is that city-owned?
I believe it is now, I think. I don't know, I didn't think it was before, but
I don't remember.
I think nobody wants to own it.
I guess the question is, obviously, I walk it every day, but there's knapweed on the shoulders of the roadway?
No, we can,
Is
yeah,
that
we'll
the
put,
responsibility of the
I-
city, or
I believe if depending on how close it is, it probably is ours.
yeah, no,
it's between the fence and the gravel?
I can add that to the,
Technically, all invasive species are county, but we work with them, so.
Okay, I just didn't know.
We control grass and weed is county by MCA.
I'm
no,
always battling it in the neighborhood, so.
no, we could probably add that to the spray list. That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, any more from
Nope,
Mike?
I'm done.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm Jeff Sheets again. I talked with Mike about this. So, you know, we had the fundraiser for the pickleball courts, or redoing the surfacing of the tennis and pickleball courts outside. And I talked with Mike about, we have a space between the courts and where the swing set is, about a 10-foot space there, and it's just gravel and dirt and weeds. And we used some extra money when we went fundraising, and we'd like to donate that. And I talked to him about possibly having a 10 by 20 slab put there between with a gazebo on it, and then a sidewalk connecting that, because now people can be sitting with their kids in the summertime. They can sit in this gazebo in the shade. People playing tennis or pickleball can also sit in there out of the sunshine. And we'd be willing to donate about $9,000 to that project. So I just want to kind of keep
Yeah.
that.
No,
out
that,
there.
that's in the queue. It's one of the, and I just need to get, we talked about it last year, and I actually did go down and shoot all that. I need to get with our engineers and stuff, cause like I said, I think if we do it, I want them to do it. 'Cause
You know, we have that money, and I just don't want like sitting there. I mean, if it's, you know, put that to use for something. I think that's something that's needed.
yeah,
If you're
no, I
sitting out there
have
on
a
the
feeling in
top
order to do that right, we're gonna be like, 30 or 40 into
Yeah.
it, but I think it's a good project, and like I said, it's,
Jeff, have you, told Roger, Parks Board Chairman about this donation
I
you'd
think
like
I-
to make?
I think I've brought it up at
Oh,
Parks
okay, all
Board
right, just want
last
to make
year,
sure. All right.
but I just, it's kind of,
Thank you.
it lost momentum.
okay.
Parks and land use, I think will both be involved with that. That feels like substantial enough it'll require council.
Okay, yes, yes, go ahead.
I'd like to submit a letter of intent. We live at 215 Nutting, and we're beside city property, and our fence is over our property line, and we're encroaching on city property. And we have taken months, but we have had Red Lodge Surveying come by and survey what our encroachment is. And that was completed in March, and then we got it in April. So I have a copy of our survey and our property. And, so we request that the city consider either granting a permanent easement for the encroachment area or adjusting the property line via a deed or land transfer if permissible under city policy. Can I read my letter?
Well, this is more land use and planning. Did you give that?
Well, it says it goes to Public Works online.
I think if you're, go ahead and submit it, and what
Yeah.
you guys can do is you can transfer it to land
Okay.
use and planning.
Yeah, typically most, land transfers and things like that go through land use and planning, but we can sure give them that information. I mean, obviously, you know, the department heads would also.
We should have done it at the last meeting.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, because that would have gone long. so-
I know, I'm sorry. Like,
Well, I can email it all.
We can AI you into the old meeting.
I know. No, but yes, you can, either email it to, the mayor, and Chelsea is the chair of that.
If you've got it now, we'll take hard copies.
Yeah, we can
and-
sure take.
and go
Well, I
from
only
there.
have one copy.
I can scan the one copy.
Okay.
And if you'd like, Madam Chair, would you like copies of this?
Sure,
Or does that
yeah.
not fit into your agenda? today?
No, absolutely. I mean, as council president, I always like to stay informed on things that will be coming in front of council down the road, so.
Which direction to go, and it said, this meeting first, so I was wrong.
I'm sorry, I mean, it's fine to bring it here, and we'll make sure it goes where it needs to go.
You know, I've been working months to try to get it
Yes.
rolling, and I really want to get it involved.
Like if we can have a copy of that
letters?
Mm-hmm, yeah, I'll have,
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
better
we
have-
can write.
let me go get some coffee.
Okay.
What letter was that?
In
Well-
support of the,
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
like a template
Yes,
for the.
for the,
Or support letter, yeah, okay.
yes, yes. Okay.
Hey, I'm the one clearing my throat. Now that both of them are out of the room, I was going to ask Mike and Dave. This is Jeff Wise. I was going to ask him if that stream side bank stabilization thing would include, in addition to the riprap, there's a lot of stuff left in the creek from about the historical signs down to 19th Street, large chunks of asphalt. There's a section of a preformed curb sticking up out of the creek over there by the signs. I pulled a bumper out of the creek about 2 or 3 weeks ago and sent Dave and Mike the photos of it. It's now sitting up. Last time I saw it, it was still sitting up there by the pullout. So is that under the purview of the public works director, or is that something that somebody else has to do, like with a contract from the department? What do you call it? The Army Corps of Engineers or something like that?
No, that's okay. I'll paraphrase here. So, Dad, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. He's asking from the historical site sign down to where the 19th Street project is. There's a bunch of debris still in
Yeah.
Rock Creek. Will
This
this
is
remove
Jeffrey.
any of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought that up in the, with the engineers, and we're actually going to try to include that area in our permit so that we can go up there while the contractor's here and remove the asphalt and the concrete and other stuff that's not supposed to be there. And if we do it under the permit, then we'll be legal and.
Cool.
Right.
Okay. Did you guys happen to find the bumper that I dragged up onto the side of the creek by the pullout?
Yeah, I mean, I think all that will get addressed when we're gonna include all that in the permit to clean up whatever's in there.
Well, I already pulled that out for you. It's probably technically on city land at this point. I didn't have a vehicle to haul the thing away in.
Okay,
Okay. All right. So let's move on here because we do have an agenda we have to address here. So Resolution 3734, award bid for water project. This will be up for action in front of full council tomorrow night. Is there any questions on that at all? Mike explained it here. It looks like we will be voting to award it to COP Construction because they had the low bid of $2.158 million.
Mike
And-
seems to think they do good work in
Yeah,
town.
So that, any questions on that?
it's a no-brainer.
Okay, all right. Okay, we're just gonna zip through this stuff. Resolution number 3735, the Republic Services contract, that's up for action by full council tomorrow night. Any questions on that? The representative from Republic Services was at our last city council meeting. We kind of went over a lot of things, but does anybody have any questions or concerns about that contract before tomorrow night? We're good. Parks Board updates, I know that, we got quite a few here from Mike, so.
And some of them left, but a lot of us were at the meeting last week, and we're having a big meeting on Wednesday night, about playgrounds. It's gonna be a big agenda. I don't have anything
So-
new on the trail.
Are you doing that at the same time that they're having, oh,
A week from tomorrow.
It's the sixth.
oh,
A
okay.
week from,
Okay, I was,
Oh, not
because we're having our resort tax board meeting on Wednesday. Like, wait, what? Don't scare me like that.
Rousing meeting.
It will. I was like, wait.
no, this will be a week
Okay.
from.
Okay.
And,
Thank you.
Nick Gaddy's coming, and, I haven't seen the agenda yet, but,
Okay.
but that's the main,
Okay, perfect. And,
I think it's been well documented, so
Yeah.
we'll go with it and see what happens.
so we, also have the governing the residential trash cans ordinance. And Patty and I kind of worked on this a little bit, and we just would like to get some of your input. You know, a while ago, we did this ordinance 973, which was to help, sorry, which was to edit the nuisances, the 4.116. And here's our actual, for the public health and safety, to be able to go in and edit those to include, I'm sorry, I thought I
have one.
Do you have extra? Okay.
Yeah, I have the one from.
I know. I think I printed it more than I did print all of them. So we just want some input on this, because there's a couple things we can do. I mean, we can just go in and edit the 4.1.1, create a new ordinance that adds the residential issues that we had. You know, saying that every resident has to have a trash can, because it doesn't really say that in there necessarily through, you know, that the city has a contract with Republic Services. Every residential unit has to have, you know, a bear-resistant trash receptacle. And then the things that we've talked about, being able to have someone opt out if they have an ADU that has no rental, no long-term tenants, no someone living in it more than 30 days. And, you know, those type of things, we need to talk about that and putting that in there. So I guess what I would like Patty and I would like some input on how best to do this. Do we want to just amend ordinance number 973 and add in those things to that?
Is the stuff underlined, what's being changed?
No, that was the last ordinance that was passed.
Okay.
That was already passed, yeah.
This one's passed.
That one's passed. Or do we want to create a whole new ordinance that describes and this was kind of done about 4 years ago, creating a whole solid waste management ordinance, period. But those are, I mean, it's a lot of work, and I mean, we can put the work in, but do we need that?
And this is to address, like, who gets billed, basically?
Well,
for these
we also did that, excuse me, where we took it out of the property taxes and put it on the utility bill. But yes, it would also be, you know, if you have so many units, it would say that you can get your garbage from, you know, direct through Republic Services. Right now, if you have an ADU, you have 2 cans and you pay for it. And if the ADU isn't being used, it gives people the ability to sign an affidavit, opt out. And then we could also address the fact that if people have too much garbage and it's consistently overflowing, the city will give you a new can. You'll have 2 for 1 residence, and you will pay for it, because you can't have garbage.
What's the actual mechanism for that?
Well,
everybody's gonna come in and say, hey, no one's renting my thing, so I'm only
Well,
down
you
1
can't, it can't be a
right?
short-term rental. You know, it can't be registered as a short-term rental. You have to sign an affidavit saying it's not a long-term rental. I mean, and you also have to sign.
So it's like an additional dwelling unit that you don't rent out.
Right.
Gotcha.
And that it's not being lived in by your children or whatever, you know. I mean, it can't be a long-term residential, you know, it's basically, it's a guest house type of situation that people just become.
Or office.
Yeah, or an office exposure or yes.
Is it just a matter of making everyone get a, trash can? Because our city has a poor record on enforcement. And if there are any extenuating circumstances or special this, special that, we won't enforce it.
Everyone right now has to have but we don't really have that written down anywhere. So this one, it will be in there. If you have a residential unit, you have to have some type of trash collection. It will be provided by the city unless there's, you know, I don't know what it,
Well, let's
is it
just
3
get
or more
everybody a
units
garbage
type of
can with
thing?
as few
Basically,
special
right now,
exceptions
if you
as
have
possible.
water service, you have trash can, right?
Right. But there's also the apartments and things like that, or condo units where they can have, if they have so many units, they can have a dumpster. So we don't have, like Danae's concerned, we don't really have any of that codified. So we need to have what we're doing codified, and also possibly offer an opt-out if people have an ADU and they're not using
I
it.
think Danae needs to be in the room when you talk
No
about
opt-out. Come on, like I
it.
said, we don't enforce anything in
She deals
this
with this
town.
all the time.
Yeah.
She understands it.
No, and I did sit down and talk to her, and we had a great conversation, and she was okay if it was very specific. You know, they have to sign it, I mean, it's basically an ADU that no one is using as a residential unit.
Did you ask her about whether it should be included in this or a separate ordinance on its own?
We did have actually input. My recollection was it should be separate. Now, whether that's a -24
Yeah,
or stuck in a -17, but it was basically,
Feels like it should be different.
it was something different than what's in here was the recommendation from the attorney member. And then I don't know if you remember, this was, what happened is, right now we do it, to your point, if you have one, you have a garbage can.
right.
So what happens if your shop is far enough away from the house, so you have 2 water meters, 2 sewer bills, and then you're doing double, because that is specifically what we're trying to address.
Yeah.
And it was an exception.
For one guy. All
Well,
this work because of one guy.
well, it's also, all this work because it's not codified. Well, our policies and procedures right now for residential garbage are not codified.
Okay, let's do it. Right
So,
now.
Both of those
All the
comments are
verbiage.
true statements.
yeah, it's not just, yeah, it is. It's-
One guy made us notice we don't have it codified.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
So, because we have 4-1-16, it's called solid waste. So we can either add to that, because this is solid waste, or do you want,
And I don't think it has to be an ordinance about who we bill, it just has to be a written.
no, we did that already. We did that because it was in your property taxes, and we have, that ordinance is out there.
Okay,
We already did that one,
okay. I
because
just,
now it's on your utility bill.
so I think it doesn't belong in -16, but.
Okay, for the
For
residential
who
garbage.
who gets a trash can is a separate thing than you're gonna get fined if you don't use your trash can.
Well, it says right here, all commercial, industrial, and apartment operators, owners shall provide solid waste handling that is an adequate size for the business and storage areas. We put that in 4-1-16.
Okay?
As well as construction sites.
Yeah.
too, for
I mean, we
waste.
just did that, like, in 24,
Do
literally.
you have a written version that Danae has signed off on yet? Or?
That's why I'm here talking to you guys.
Not-
Like, no, I don't.
Because, yeah, you.
I'm wanting to know, do we want to, before we move forward with this, do we want to take the existing ordinance that we just did, 973, in 2024, and amend that to include these extra things? That would probably, and that would, edit 4-1-16. Or do you want a whole new ordinance specific for this? I mean, the
No.
easiest thing would be to
Yeah.
just edit.
Easy.
I agree.
What's Dennison think?
I haven't,
His recommendation, and I could be wrong, because this was a year ago, I think his recommendation was he felt could be separate, but my input is, it's gotta be scalable, it can't be ballooning up and down, that's too load of a thing on staff.
no,
And
I,
you've gotta have
yeah.
Danae and Dennison happy with this.
yes,
That's my input.
absolutely. No, and that's why I met with Danae, about a month and a half ago to talk about it. And she just wants it in there so that they have a
So-
policy and
But
procedures.
this is all good. There's nothing we wanna add.
Yeah.
No, that's what's in place now. That's
Yeah,
edited
everybody's
for,
happy with this.
yeah, that just passed in
We just
2020.
wanna add,
Away.
we just wanna make the part about,
We want to add to it.
about who gets billed and where.
I'm for adding to something that everyone's happy with. Oh, my gosh, that's a no-brainer.
Okay, okay.
I love all this no brain stuff, I can handle that.
I know.
So if you just kind of
That's
write
right.
out
Okay, hey, hang on, one
a little
first.
thing about what you actually wanna add, like in a paragraph, I can take that to Dennis and say, hey, what's the best way to get that into this?
Okay,
And the code.
And see what he says.
okay, we can do that.
you get me that and I'll go see him.
Okay,
Let's
perfect.
vote on
And
this
I
as
will,
soon as possible, like in a month.
okay. I will vote, Patty and I will work on that, and I will copy, I'll send it to Mike, I'll copy Danae and Ann and the mayor, and,
Just for awareness, I have nothing to do with Ken.
well, I don't like communicating with staff without you being included on what I'm saying.
That's fair. If it's directing staff,
It's not directing because he offered,
Yes.
but.
You asked for it.
Yeah, I'm just a passenger pigeon taking it
Okay.
to,
All right, so I like this, just doing it this way. I honestly did not want to go and create a whole new solid waste management plan for the city unless you feel we need one.
you send me a paragraph, I'll take it to Dennis, and
Okay,
he'll say right away, now this is what we need to do.
okay,
That's what we'll do.
all right. Thank you. All right, any other comments on this?
That's why we pay Dennis the big bucks.
Yeah, okay. Any public comments on this? No? Okay, well, let's, and no one, anyone online? Okay.
Jeff's still there.
Okay, so are
No,
there
I gave
any, I believe that was, do you have your agenda? I think we're ready for public comment, if there was anything else on that. Oh, sorry, I think that's it. Okay, so, any public comments in general? Yes?
Mike,
Yeah.
I want to ask Mike about this. Would it be better to have us each do a separate one, or can we do one together?
Do it together.
Okay.
I think you might see through that one.
Steve Smith is
Be more the same address and the
And then
same
I
last
don't know,
name.
if public
And
health.
Roy,
and
you got
safety-
one, right?
What's that?
You got one, a letter of support?
If it's public health and safety, or if it's, this is it, either last summer or the summer before, somebody came by from the Bear Group and wanted us to let them know when bears were coming through the alley. And I misplaced that card. Who do we contact? Is there still somebody that wants to know that bears are in the alley?
I think you can go on Facebook.
Well, yeah, so the person, yeah, we had one up the street today as well. Fortunately, didn't get into any cans. But Daniel McHugh is who we're actually supposed to be reporting that to, and what they do is for logging. But if you wanted, I can tell you that you can, the people you're probably thinking of was either Corey, the official procedure right now is just called dispatch and tell them, and they relay that on to FWP is what's happening.
Okay, so we just call.
Just call it simple as that.
Yeah, just call dispatch, make sure they understand it's not an emergency.
Yes.
But there was one, and FWP has asked that we report it through you so you can track it.
Okay.
And then go from there. The one that I did, I sent directly to him, so.
Yes.
I'll let you take this message with, the request for, city-owned property, that we should establish the value of the land that is being requested be given to the property owner. And there should be a dollar exchange for that land, because it has value, and the city shouldn't be giving anything away, because we have a need for revenue. And we just had a park request that is only a third of the revenue that's gonna be required for that. So it would make more sense, it'd be less painful for everyone if there was just you can purchase this land to reset this boundary for your encroachment, but it shouldn't be just, we've been here long enough, we should just own it. That's my opinion as a business-minded person, that it has a value, we have a need, it would benefit all parties, and call it good.
Along those same lines, I was walking with Tom Coley when we were doing the park trail sort of thing, and the reason we can't use several of the spots is because the city, in a sense, gave away that land.
We did.
And Tom Coley's feeling is the city should never give away any land at all, because you never know when you're going to need it.
Exactly.
And when you can use it. So,
And that's the other option, is just to, and it's the more painful option, is to say you need to remove your encroachment and reestablish the property lines.
The original, or the established.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a process in place for?
There is, yeah, there absolutely is, and this would go to council for a vote. And it wasn't, I don't remember how long ago it was, but, city council at one time said that we would no longer abandon property, you know, just because there was no, you know, it was a right-of-way, city right-of-way, we would no longer just abandon property, we had to be paid for it, or it was a trade of equal value, and you might have been on council when that passed, I can't remember, because we were just giving away land left and right for a long time.
There's, and the general advice, interestingly enough, the initial request that came in on here was to abandon the city park and give them the city park, and then it was like, that's not happening, and then when the land donation came in, all the planning or and the folks who on staff that were helping out and said, and that's why, because you never know what the future holds, which is kind of in line with what Tom Coy's with. The only one that council has actually acted on and abandoned, while I've been mayor, and I think it was one that we didn't have a choice because legally the creek and God determined that it was gone and we no longer
And I'm still mad about that.
but we no longer have the ability to do it. The attorney said you have no choice, but you must do it to make a paper trail, and so we got a paper trail.
I still don't think that's right, but I'm not an attorney, so I'll just hold. Is there any more comments, any comments online?
None here.
Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of your input.
And your, yeah, great.
Yes,